my little buddy Benny.
The Book of Amun-Ra.
You'll never eat. You'll never sleep. You will never stop. Straighten up this Mishima!
Looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river! Ah!
Good morning. My name is Aaliyah. Welcome to Jared to Jared. On this week's episode, the Jareds will discuss Stephen Sommers, The Mummy, Brendan Fraser, 1999, attraction, exploration, and much, much more. Let the adventure begin.
What leads to O'Connell side, Evie, Jonathan, and the guy who spent 3,000 years making sure Imhotep doesn't come back from the grave.
Yeah.
To the people that are Benny following this guy, right?
Yeah. You're just the light in the dark, the good
light
and the evil.
in the dark.
Yeah.
But what's separating then the human race? Because we know if the aliens come or Imhotep comes back from the dead after they excavate the pyramids.
Yeah.
You know there's going to be light and dark, people that are going to serve the evil alien and people are going to try to fight back against. And does this metaphor sort of show us something about ourselves within the world, right? Who are the ones that sort of go towards the light, fight against the dark, and those that embrace the dark and perhaps see a light only through darkness.
Okay. So just to make sure I understand the question, you're asking, is it like what decides whether a person chooses the light or the dark?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Whether you become an O'Connell, Brendan Fraser, or a Benny, freaking the slave of the mummy, just so that you can feel safe and secure and feel like, okay, I'm going to be safe when the evil wins because I'm going to serve the evil. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So is it safety then?
Yeah, I think that's an element. I think a character like Benny, who becomes the slave of Imhotep, he does so strictly because he's trying to remain safe and remain secure, and I guess he doesn't have confidence in the light, and he's already a greedy character, right? I mean, all of his, like I said in the beginning, he seems like a crackhead. By that, what I meant is he's the addict. He's constantly trying to hold on to external things in order to feel safe, right? And I think that's what the darkness is that we all have an inner light, and then if we're not in touch with that inner light, we're grasping onto external things for that light, and that creates greed, that creates addiction cycles, and that creates serving the darkness ultimately.
Right. Yes. And there's that. Well, okay. Anthropologically speaking, is there a need for the Benny? Is there a need for the Imhotep crowd?
Right.
Where sort of a larger predator comes around, you gotta team up with it for the enabling of the survival of the race, right?
I don't think it's necessary for the human race. I think it's just it's just there. You know, it's kind of like a bug in the system that has always been there. You know,
and to say that Benny though would have immediately have stabbed Imhotep in the back if he got a chance.
Well, yeah, that's why you can't trust the darkness, right? Yeah, because it's selfishness, it's separation, everyone out for themselves. And if they're unified, it's only very briefly, and they're unified for a particular cause, which is, again, externally oriented, for power, for money, things like that. So there's actually no real trust, whereas the people on the light side, there is a unifying factor, and the unifying factor is usually higher ideals, like fighting for freedom, fighting for truth, fighting for the preservation of life.
Right. The sycophant is not to be trusted. The one who's always kissing up the Pam Bondis, you know, of the world, the Bennies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you see, you know, Pam Bondi's been ousted, right? And what was the other one's name? Lauren Boebert or something?
Boebert. Was it Boebert? Yeah.
Yeah, she was ousted too, you know, from the Trump camp. So it's like, and then they get all pissed and, you know, now they're anti-Trump or whatever. But
Right.
at least Boebert is. I don't know about what's going on with Bondi.
That even happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh God, that's what I'm thinking of. Not Lauren Boebert. Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Sure. But I think Boebert got
Her too?
fired or something like that. Yeah. It was one of them, one of the crazy ones.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. No, I like that. So there's in the light, there's also certain characteristics of the light. And one of those is not being a follower. Benny's sort of the follower, you know.
Well, no, there's followers within the light because you look at Jonathan.
Okay.
Who's like the beta to Brendan Fraser's alpha, right?
That's true. But
it serves an important function, right? He is the number 2.
Okay.
And in this kind of like social hierarchy or whatever, that's I think the Mummy reveals some truth about social hierarchies, about gender, about attraction, all these things we're going to get into.
Yeah. That's the A side of the
But Jonathan is the number 2, and that's an important role.
Sure,
I think that's a necessary role.
The Robin to the Batman.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's actually really important, and there's honor in that role. Not everyone needs to be the leader and in charge all the time. And
well, Brendan wouldn't exist without the Jonathans of the world, right?
Yeah, I heard about this idea that if you take, I don't know, let's say 10 people or something like that and put them on a stranded island or strand them on a remote island, that those 10 people are going to inevitably fall into these sort of archetypal roles of human society. Inevitably, every single time, any group of 10 people. So you're going to have the leader. You're going to have the number 2. You're going to have the maternal figure. You're going to have the warrior figure. You're going to have the scout, you know, and like, there's just this like map for a social makeup, for a social network. And then everyone inevitably falls into that map because it's useful for survival. Right. You know, and each part matters. It's not to say like Brendan Fraser is like the most important figure in that team. I mean, Brendan Fraser, like you said, doesn't exist without the Jonathan, doesn't exist without the Evie, doesn't exist without the weird Egyptian man who dies from a scarab going into his brain.
Right. And his little his like sidekick or his equal is the other Egyptian guy who's like took with the nice hair, you know.
I love that guy. See, I find that guy to be a fascinating character because he's not O'Connell, and I might resonate with him the most in some ways because he's not O'Connell. He's not the leader. He's not the alpha. I guess he's in the like whatever they call it, the manosphere or something, like all the internet dialogue about like masculinity and stuff. I think they call it the Sigma now or something like that. It's kind of like the lone wolf figure. But that's sort of that dude where he's like, he serves a very important function. He comes in, he's on the side of light, but he's not like always with the team. He kind of does something.
Right.
Wandering around in the night. He's been watching over the tomb for 3,000 years. He's got this background mystique to him, and a darkness, not an evilness, but there is like a mystique.
He is the initial bad guy in the movie.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Which I like that sort of character arc.
And he's the complement to O'Connell.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that dude who's the complement to O'Connell, and then you have Evie, who's like the Madonna whore complex, right? The bifurcation of women kind of thing. You have Evie, who's like the purity, the light, and then you have Egyptian lady,
Anoxana man,
who was the she's like the dark feminine, right?
And
then they complement each other. Yeah. So there's actually a lot of duality
like a foil
playing
there going on. Yeah. Imhotep is actually the opposite of O'Connell.
Right.
Everybody
That's
kind of
true,
looks
actually,
up to him. He's the strongest guy,
Yeah.
Whereas that other Egyptian guy that we're talking
He's his
about,
own camp, huh?
right? He's the lone wolf.
Yeah.
Because Imhotep's not the lone wolf. Imhotep is very desperately in love with the Noxanamun still.
Yeah, very toxic relationship.
Yeah.
How do you say her name? The Egyptian woman?
Noxanamun.
Beautiful.
I'm an Egyptian man. Yeah, so Imhotep is sort of like the foil to, and Benny is sort of the foil to Jonathan. He's like the number two, the kiss
exactly.
up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then a Noxanamun.
Yeah, it's Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow the Hedgehog, and then like each one of their like little team members has like their foil on the other team.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Shadow the Hedgehog has his version of Tails.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Knuckles and
exactly.
Yeah.
But then Knuckles is like the
Knuckles is like the Egyptian
Knuckles
guy.
is the Egyptian warrior for 3,000 years ago, because Knuckles is like definitely a good guy, but also has some like anti-hero qualities, and he is also like shadowy doing his own thing.
Right. Yeah. He's the lone wolf. Yeah.
Totally. See, these are all the archetypes.
And I like that. Okay, the Egyptian dude, and God, we should just look his name up on our phones.
I know, yeah, it sounds ridiculous just calling him the Egyptian dude.
The main character in the pod.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Look it up. He is actually a vision of what O'Connell could be if O'Connell like lost himself.
Interesting.
If he had to like do some sort of righteous quest or something like that, join some ancient covenant, or had a little bit more trauma, he would be this dude. And that's why they respect each other a lot too, because having said the Egyptian guy, he would be O'Connell, like going after Evie.
Yeah.
If he didn't have the covenant, if he wasn't for 3,000 years protecting the tomb of Imhotep, probably had a little bit more trauma as well.
Yeah. Ardith Bey is the character, is the Egyptian guy character.
Okay, that's not the name of the actor.
No. Oh man, so cool. Ardith Bey is the chief of the Magi, the descendants of the pharaoh's bodyguards. They are sworn to do all in their power to prevent the resurrection of Imhotep.
Nice. Oh, so he's part of the lineage of the bodyguards of the king.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. Interesting.
So Ardith, the compliment.
Yeah, and the actor was, where is it? Ardith Bey. The actor was Oded Fair, if I'm saying that correctly.
Okay.
No idea who that is.
See, in the J to J story, I feel like me and you would be O'Connell and Ardith,
Yeah, exactly.
And then like Jeff would be my Jonathan, and
yeah, exactly.
Well, chaps, put your back into it. Yeah, such a good movie. Movie.
I do want to say, because we were talking a lot about 1999, right?
Right.
A lot of good movies. 99, such a good year for movies. Matrix, biggest one. And there was this quality of like adventuresome fun that just like seems like it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
We're talking a lot about just like there's this just like, I don't know, just this like boyish quality of fun where they're just like they're adventuring the entire time, even when they're like battling it out. It's like 13-year-olds playing with cap guns or something. It's like fun.
Jonathan's cool. Drinking. They're
drinking whiskey the whole time. Is the guy gonna get the girl?
Like, 2 guns out of the chest.
Yeah, exactly.
And then running and like slipping and laughing.
There's no politics.
Right.
Unless you want to do, which you easily could, because it definitely is there, but unless you want to dissect like the, class and race and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
That's in the background of the film. Like you could easily do that, but that's not like part of the story. It's not written into the story. This isn't like a political movie, it's like, like just not everything has to be this commentary on like culture and politics. It's just fun, you know?
Right.
And just everything's so serious now in 2026.
God, it's so freaking serious. And this is a huge issue with me, especially being a dad, is I had just brought this conversation up again the other day. Henry was watching The Good Dinosaur and like his dad dies. It's like the most devastating freaking shit in the world. And then there's that cartoon Up, where the like old man is like grieving his dead wife, you know, and it's just like, man, what happened to adventures and like,
dude,
you know, treasure hunts and some good old battles, like sword battles, and you know, what the hell is happening here? Everybody's so goddamn sad.
No, totally.
No wonder there's no tea anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And also horrifying, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I brought up, you know, love these movies, but like the John Wick movies, like the violence in those movies is equally as like ridiculous as O'Connell fucking everybody up, you know, but it's brutal, like people's heads getting blown off, axe in the face, gore, you know, arms chopped off, gory. Right. There's no blood in The Mummy.
There's not a single drop of blood. Actually, the only blood that's in that entire movie is when one of the plagues comes, and it's when the river turns red with blood, right? Yes, so they're like hanging out in a bar, and there's like a fountain in the middle of the bar, and then the water turns red. Right. That's the only blood that you see. It's like food dye in the water. It's not like gory.
Yeah. Turns into Kool-Aid. Yeah. Right. Well, it's fun, you know, and even the action scenes, Jonathan's drinking, freaking, you know, people are messing around. There's actual horses, you know, choreographed horses in battle shooting guns. It's not CGI. Yeah. The music itself isn't horrifying. It's this cool, like John Williams-esque action, like you know, fuck, we got to bring that back. And the movie is just a good time. It's a great time. It's a little bit scary. It's a thriller. It's a historical piece.
No, it's not.
It's historically accurate. That's what I appreciate.
No, it's not at all.
You know, it's a good time. And they take, like, in a good way, like types, maybe not in the best way, it could be controversial, but like, you know, the like Americans, you know, they make a joke out of it, like, oh, bloody American shooting, you know, and like the English dudes are so English and like, you know, stereotypically the Egyptians are too, you know. It's sort of like that was 90s culture. We were all just having a good time.
It was all just fun, dude. It was all just fun. This is pre 9/11.
Pre 9/11 action.
Everyone was
story,
happy. It was great.
You know? Yeah, exactly. You know, nothing actually posed a real threat when you like watch the battle scenes. Right. Oh, that's my last point. Is it's so cool too to watch like those battle scenes and your protagonist. It's like he's playing a video game on rookie mode. Yeah. You know, intermediate or whatever. It just, he's so good. No one can beat him, you know? Yeah. And you sure, like, they overwhelm him for a second, but you know he's going to get out of it.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a question for you. What did we learn about attraction and gender roles from Brendan Fraser?
What didn't
as Jack O'Connell?
What did not we learn? That's the real question. Oh my God, so much. He's the epitome of masculinity, essentially.
But healthy masculinity, right? He's great. Yeah, he's like, he's doing it right. He's doing it right.
Yeah. Whereas Emotep isn't doing it. He's obsessive.
Emotep he's so toxic.
He needs to move on, you know. He took her from her happy, you know, marriage to the king.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy, you know, and then he's Klinger 5000. He's trying to bring her back from the dead. Yeah. The guy's overly religious. He needs to calm down, you know. He's always hanging out with his boys fucking painted in gold. You know, O'Connell, on the other hand, he shows what true masculinity could be. Strong. He's smart. He's a historian. He's an archaeologist. He's a war man.
Right.
Lots of good jokes in there. And he really commands a room, you know, the guy commands a room.
Yeah, there's charisma there, leadership.
And what that has to do with attraction for Evie. everything, right? That's what the anti-Jezebel, the Madonna, wants to see in a true man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to highlight protection.
Yes.
Is huge, right?
Oh,
because I think the healthy masculine offers protection.
Right.
See, and this is something I've been learning about, which is...
And he's willing to be protected. She saves his life twice.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about empowerment too, because the anti-Jezebel,
right,
Evie, right? She empowers Jack O'Connell, right?
Yes,
she doesn't see his power and try and tear him down. She empowers him.
right
There, and welcomes that space of protection. And when she does challenge him, it's in order to refine his abilities and push his abilities further, because they're on the same side. They're on the same team.
Right.
Whereas, what was the Egyptian woman's name?
Anaxanamun.
Anaxanamun, right? It's there's power, but then tries to tear it down.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, she brings him to the grave. She drives Imhotep mad with her hotness,
which is the Jezebel dynamic.
The Jezebelness. She turns against the king. She's married for kind. Get a divorce, before you do
Get
it.
a divorce, bro.
Yeah. Right. I was going to say about Evie. What the hell was I going to say about Evie? Okay, so she protects him, saves his life multiple times, and she challenges him, as you brought up. I like that suitcase scene. Yeah. Where, it's kind of like a Merv Griffin show skit they're going on.
Oh,
there.
right.
But he's like packing her stuff, and she's unpacking it, and he's packing it, unpacking it. And what is she doing? She's challenging his morality, his moral code.
Exactly.
Because the alcoholic
refining his ethic.
O'Connell would have bounced and been like, let's get out of here, heck with it. I'm just going to go Benny it out. Let's get the fuck out of here, go have fun at some Egyptian bar in Cairo. Right. No, she's like, I'm going to push you to see how far we can get your moral code.
Interesting.
And it's actually expanding who he is as a person. His inner self.
Now we're getting into it.
Yeah. And she's telling him, well, then I'm going to stay, you go. And he's like, yeah, right. You're not going to. And she's like, watch me, essentially, and just like, get out of here.
Oh,
but she's pushing him. She's pushing that inner self.
Yeah.
And he leaves.
Yeah.
But then look what happens. He ends up staying. He finds that larger moral code that turns him into this sort of bigger human that she knows he already is inside.
Yes.
But it cannot be unlocked without some healthy motivation.
This is great. Dude, real life story of this. A friend of mine in class, he's like in his 50s now, wife and kids, whatever. When he first met his wife, he was doing some shady work. Right? Okay. He was like doing some kind of like internet programming thing, whatever. But I guess it was just sort of like manipulative marketing, essentially, like that kind of thing. That was like, he wasn't freaking killing people, but it definitely just like was kind of slimy, like the way he was making his money. And the woman who would become his wife actually challenged him.
Yes.
And like says to him, if you keep doing this work, I do not want to be with you, because that is not the kind of man that I want to be with.
Yes.
And then he ends up leaving that work and
beautiful.
This is years ago, so he's done a bunch of different things since then, but really, really good guy. He's training to be a therapist.
Sure.
But just real life example of that kind of refining factor that I think is really cool.
Right. Yeah. And he actually essentially helps her out too, in a healthy way. The healthy pushing, when he's asking her, who are you? But why you? Why here?
Right.
But why you? Out of all these, sure, I get your parents, sure, I get Jonathan, but who are you?
Right.
And what is her ultimate conclusion there at the end? She's a librarian. She is herself.
Right.
She doesn't have to put on a mask. She doesn't have to play anybody.
And she's hyper intelligent, right? I mean, that's what I like about these sorts of like 90s movies, like cute action films and stuff, is like, she definitely falls into the like, she's not the damsel in distress, right? But she's very, very, very much in these pretty archetypally, traditionally feminine roles.
Sure.
But there's power within that role. It's not, I'm the damsel in distress. This isn't like Humphrey Bogart in the 50s where it's like the female role is like quite literally just like an object, you know?
Right.
Like she is this hyper intelligent character, has this really important role, is partaking in the action, right? And yet still fits within this like traditional gender role thing, and which works for them.
It's her smarts, right, that ultimately save them from Imhotep.
Yeah.
It's her who can translate the Book of Life.
Right.
It's her who saves O'Connell a third time.
Exactly.
And is essentially the protagonist of the movie at the end.
See, now get this. I'm curious about this. All right, we're all the protagonists in our own stories, right? So in this story, O'Connell is the protagonist. Sure. So everything does center around him. Right.
Right.
And in that sense, not only is the figure of Evie, the love interest, refining and developing his character, but we can actually look at it as if every character, including the characters on the dark side, are expanding and refining him, right? Refining his ethic.
Yeah.
Even to the extent of Imhotep.
Right.
So if we put Jack O'Connell, the protagonist, at the center of the story, and the story is actually, this is the hero's journey, is actually about his growth and expansion. Even the villain himself is there for the expansion of the protagonist, right?
Yeah.
The villain thinks he's there to conquer the world or whatever's going on, gain power and all of that, but he's actually there to serve the refining function for the protagonist.
Right.
Which is interesting because that slips into that, like, who put the snake in the garden thing? Well, God did. That's part of the story, right? Or who had Judas betray Jesus? Well, God did. That was also part of it, because it's all about this larger refining story that's there for the protagonist.
Sure.
But we are all the protagonists in our own lives, right? So it's a way of reframing things where challenges happen in our own lives, or we come in contact with terrible people. I mean, this is a Buddhist tenet where it's, we chant this when I do the Zen retreats. One of the lines is, it's something like, I forget the exact line, but it's something like, even when horrible people come into our lives, we are going to thank them with gratitude, because they too are manifestations of Buddha nature, who are there to challenge and thus expand our strength and compassion.
Sure.
You know,
this manifests with Benny.
Yeah. Yes.
Because Benny is like sort of this thorn in his side, thorn in the flesh, you know.
You're going to get yours, Benny.
You're going to get yours, Benny. You're on the wrong side of the river.
Yeah.
And what happens, though, at the end, he tries to save his life.
Yeah, exactly.
Which expands O'Connell even more.
O'Connell,
love thy neighbor, right?
Yes, the Christ O'Connell.
The Christ O'Connell.
And O'Connell, in that sense, has even become, I mean, that's him. He has actualized.
Right.
He has self-actualized, because it's when you can reach out to save your enemy that we are most actualized,
right?
And that we're in most and truest alignment with that larger narrative, where everything is serving that actualization.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
and that's enlightenment.
Yeah, amazing.
So I think Brendan Fraser, Jack O'Connell, actually becomes enlightened in the end.
Maybe it's about the Buddha.
Hey man, there's actually historical fact. This is wild, but there's actually evidence of Buddhist statues practice in ancient Egypt.
Sure.
Which is wild to me.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I believe it though. Some of those Buddhist temples, they don't know how old they are. That's a fact. They just don't even know.
It's totally insane.
Yeah.
There are statues of the Buddha carved in a Greek style. So there's belief too that there were probably small groups, but groups of ancient Greeks practicing Buddhism.
Right.
And yeah, and then you look at guys like Socrates and Plato, who are definitely very, very awakened kind of individuals. And it's like, interesting. There's something there.
It's interesting how it's always been in culture, even in the French, like post-structuralism, a lot of them loved like Taoism and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
They would really derive a lot of their philosophies from it. Interesting to think. A couple notes on attraction, though. O'Connell. Back to O'Connell. Dude's strong. He's, you know, charming, charismatic. But when he's talking with Evie, it's the more like Evie parts, as I was saying. He respects her. He gives her like a really cool gift, the archaeology gift. Right. But he also pushes the boundaries a little bit.
Right.
So he like keeps it sexual. There was, you know, sort of flirts with her, which respects her, like, you know, not being the Jezebel, but also a beautiful sexual creature, you know, at the same time. And he like does the kiss in the beginning of the scene, right? When he tries to get her to save her. So you made a good point during the movie where he's kind of honoring her as well through the like keeping it flirty, but also, you know, respecting her as the academic, the smart, you know, the anti-Jezebel Madonna. But that doesn't mean she's one of the homies necessarily. You know? He's not putting her in the Jonathan category. He's still like, you know, can put her on the pedestal she deserves to be on, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I don't know, there's something there, especially with our like mandemic that's going on right now.
No, totally.
You know, and we forgot how to like interact with girls that we like, I think.
No, this is true.
You know,
and
very desexualized culture.
Yes.
Plus computers, all that stuff, you know.
That's the word I was going to say. Yeah, the desexualization. Right, which is just yet another instance where there was a problem in society, and instead of making conscious change, we just took the pendulum and swung it to the opposite end, which does nothing to fix anything. All it is just the inversion of what was happening, which isn't true healing. That's not true authentic relief from anything. It's just inversion. It's just shadowing. It's, you know, it's switching over. So I think we did that because we did have, I think in a lot of ways, at least, you know, women in my life have expressed to me, you know, ways in which they have felt over sexualized or just omni-sexualized, just like always, you know, and that was a problem. Right. And then there's, you know, whatever, just all the Me Too, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And then I think a large swath of society said, okay, this is a problem. What should we do? Let's swing the pendulum all the way to the opposite end so that, you know, men are scared to approach women, even though women still want to be approached, all these kind of things. And then everyone's just lonely and sad, you know, and it's not good. It's actually very unhealthy for our society. So instead of just taking the pendulum and swinging it over to the other side, what we need to do is become Jack O'Connell.
Yes.
We need to, you know, in the sense that like exactly as you're describing, like, because there is this reverence and respect for the other, right? And saying like, I revere you and I respect you and value your humanity. Just like, oh, cool, you're really smart. That's an awesome quality, and I really like that. And you're really, really, really attractive, and I want to act on that. Like these things can coexist. It doesn't need to be like. Yeah, just only, oh, you're so smart, we're friends now.
Totally,
you know?
totally. Yeah. And I think this likewise goes for like, you know, and we're men, so this just in terms of the movie, right? I'm trying to put this in context in terms of the movie.
I feel like you're about to get us canceled.
We're going to get canceled. But also in attracting a man, as speaking for like the Jack O'Connell, I so much more respect the like, oh, you call that a kiss, and like, you know, messing around, you know, like you said, and the empowering sort of, you know, trusting in O'Connell at first, this and that. Then fuck man, freaking the first like 3 dates that you meet are freaking a knocks on a moon style. Bring me back from the dead. We've been dating for a week, you know.
Dude, exactly.
Like I like the sort of
dating for a week.
Respecting the whole entire arrangement. I think it means more than just like, oh, drop an album, whatever. Yeah. Be a little unsure, play around with it, but also, you know, trust in it, trust in the and she trusts in O'Connell.
Yeah.
She follows him, she questions him, she pushes him. Yeah. But she's also, you know, willing to protect him and be protected by him. Yeah. You know, there's constantly this masculinization, not instead of emasculating him. Yeah. Sort of the masculizing.
Yeah, I like that.
And what happens then is she respects him so much more by the end of the movie as well.
For sure.
Because I think when you go so far to the freaking, I love you, what the hell? Yeah. Well, if we're not going to see each other's parents, then I don't know. It's like, dude, I literally haven't even met you yet.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Knocks on the moons, you know, of the world.
Right.
I think relationships on both sides could work so much better. Men acting like O'Connell, women acting like Evie.
It's a great model. It's a great model.
And come together.
Absolutely. So one thing that comes to mind is Emotep. Right? And he is obsessive, right? I mean, he is this black hole that just wants to consume. I mean, that's what's great about his like his mouth literally comes unhinged. His jaw comes unhinged like a snake, and he opens his mouth incredibly wide. Right. And yet can still never get enough. Yes. And he's constantly trying to consume, even when he turns himself into a sandstorm. Yeah. And he's chasing the plane, right? It's such a great scene. Yeah. He's chasing the plane and he's trying to consume the plane. He's just this hungry ghost. He's constantly trying to consume. Now, something I learned in like occult magic, that kind of thing, like manifesting, right? That sort of thing. Nice. If someone wants to manifest love and relationship in their life, right? One of the rules, if you don't want to like really mess yourself up, one of the rules is you just manifest generally. You say, I want this type of relationship. I want love. I want blah, blah, blah. But you do not try to manifest a specific person because that always backfires, right? Right. And the idea with that, and even just aside from like weird woo-woo magic stuff, it's a good point that you don't want to be hyper obsessed on one specific person because one, there's weird projection going on there. You probably don't even know that person that well. There's some kind of strange obsession. Even if you get that person, you're probably going to be disenchanted. There's a lot of just messiness that will happen there, you know, and there's really funny stories of people like trying to manifest a really specific person because, I need that person, you know? And then they actually end up getting that person and it turns out that they're terrible, or it's just like, oh my God, that's not who I thought you were at all. That's not what I want, you know? Oh my God, you know, or it just gets really addictive and super messy, you know? So Emotep, like you said, bro, he's been dating freaking Anak Manara, whatever her name is, for a week. For like a week, bro. And she's in a relationship with the pharaoh, with the king, you know. Emotep is this like low level priest, and it's like, what is going on, dude? It's like, you're a priest, like chill, like what's happening? He gets totally obsessed with her, probably because he was celibate for his entire life because he was a priest. Gets totally obsessed with her, and he's a sensitive guy. And that gets, I think she's the real demon of the story, man, because she takes advantage of him. He was like this really sensitive guy. And then he comes across, what's her name?
Anoxanamun.
Anoxanamun. I'm just going to call her Anak. He comes across Anak, right? And she's freaking walking around in her like lace bikini or whatever it was, you know?
God, with the pasties on.
All of her Egyptian garb, you know? And then he falls head over heels. He's like this like celibate priest boy who like has no idea what's going on. Gets totally obsessed. And then he's like, "Oh, I'll do black magic if that will get you anything you want for you, please." You know?
Yeah.
And then she's just like
the 40-year-old virgin Imhotep, you know.
Dude, yeah, and she's got some whatever she's got going on. She's trying to make the pharaoh jealous, or she's just like totally nuts. You know, she's disordered, dude. She can't help herself. Right. She's all over the place.
Bipolar, yeah.
Oh my god, she's all over. And then so she's into it, whatever. Maybe it feels really good to get this dude's manic attention for a little bit. So then they do this whole ridiculous ritual. They're willing to kill people and blood, do like really terrible things. And then he's been with her for a week. I think he touched her arm.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Didn't even have sex yet.
Right.
He touched her arm.
Their first kiss. Yeah.
And then, which was a pretty cool scene because like the way that the pharaoh knows is because she has all her you know, charcoal mascara and stuff all over.
Truth
you know,
out,
yeah. Truth will out. And then he gets obsessed and he's willing to wait 3,000 years to complete the ritual that's going to make her immortal. And even that, like anytime someone tries to make themselves immortal, whether that's literally or through some kind of weird legacy project, like they end up going insane.
Oh, always.
Like Peter Thiel drinking the blood of 15-year-olds. That's a real thing.
Right.
Look it up, you know, like people go insane anytime they're chasing immortality in whatever form, you know? So I think Imhotep, if we had Imhotep on J to J right now and we were having a heart to heart with him, dude, what's going on?
Right.
Like, bro, just like as your friend, like stop. Like, what is it about this single individual? Like there are women everywhere. You'll meet someone new. Just back it off. Just chill. Go work on yourself a bit. You've been in the monastic abbey for 40 years. Like just gently, you know, go out into society 1 foot at a time. Meet some people, hang out with your buddies, like chill, dude. You do not need this singular person. You've been focusing on your career
too much. You're the head priest. You need to go on a vacation.
You're freaking out.
Go to Greece, you know.
Whereas with Jack O'Connell, you know, he's interested in Evie, right? The anti-Jezebel. Right. He's interested in her authentically and sincerely. But you also get the sense that if she was also just like, sorry, dude, like this isn't it. Like, you know, we had some cool times in Egypt, but I'm sorry, we're just on different life paths. That he'd feel sad, but he'd also be like, okay, like I'll, you know, that's all right. I'll go.
Right.
I got other stuff going on. I'll meet someone else eventually. It's cool.
Sure.
You know, he'd respect it.
He'd respect it. He'd always grieve her. He'd have a locket, but you know, when he was having beers with Benny, he'd be like, oh, remember Evie, man. Oh yes, Evie. So good.
It's funny.
Yeah, Imhotep just needed to move on, man. He needed to get some better help and just, you know, 4 weeks of therapy and he'd have been good. Maybe
he's probably got abandonment wounds, dude. That's why he's trying to consume so much.
Hang out with his boys. They're all, you know, painted gold. Yeah. And we can fall into those evil relationships too.
Yeah, of course.
You know, Noxanamun ends up getting murdered. He ends up getting freaking mummified alive, eaten slowly, come back to life. They're about to have each other again. Soul gets taken. She gets murdered. It's just too much. Some people, you just got to break up, you know?
Yeah.
And move on. Because Imhotep could have met his Evie out there, you know?
That's what I'm saying, you know?
You know, and they could have really changed his life. He could have had a good life.
The priest class in Egypt, they did okay, you know? He wasn't one of the slaves or something building the pyramids. Like, he had a nice apartment. He was doing all right.
Yeah, it was a nice place.
Yeah, nice place.
Looking over Cairo.
Good view, you know?
Great view. An ox on a wound too, you know. She could have met a Jack O'Connell. That sort of fought back in the right way.
I don't know if she was going to meet a Jack O'Connell.
I don't know. You never know.
I think she was going to have to do some work on herself before she met a Jack O'Connell.
That's why they went together, is because she's Jezebel. He's, you know, the bald evil guy.
Yeah.
And
he was Jeff Bezos.
They fed each other. Yeah. He was Bezos.
He was Bezos.
Yeah.
Bezos is actually Emotep.
He is.
Like, let's be real. I mean, like, that guy is.
What knocks on the moon? Hell yes.
Just like cannot get enough money, never enough. And his wife, dude, like, definitely doesn't look like a healthy individual either. You know?
She's kind of a Noxamoon-esque.
Totally. Well, scary looking.
Scary.
So,
do Jonathan and Benny, do they just stay single? Maybe a couple crazy nights, you know?
Yeah, sure. So, well, Benny dies because, you know, he you're gonna get yours, Benny.
The archetypal Benny and
Benny
Jonathan.
had to die.
Yeah.
The archetypal Benny. Yeah, I don't know. Benny would have to clean it up, man. I mean, that's like asking, like, because he's like the addict, right? Or just something's off with him, you know? It's like he's got to clean up his own life.
Because Benny will never meet a girl that loves Benny for Benny.
No, Benny's got to clean up his own life.
Maybe
first,
he would, but he wouldn't realize it and get rid of her. He would want to go for like the young hot girls that only like him for his bunny that he stole.
Oh, you know? Exactly. Yeah. He's like that kind of like creep who's like getting older but keeps going out to the club, kind of thing. And like, until he like does some serious work on himself.
We're wondering if Benny's Mexican or Egyptian.
Couldn't tell, dude.
He's American. Maybe he's an Italian guy.
Bro, remember in Chocolat? Right. Johnny Depp's character, we're like, what is that accent? Like sometimes he sounds like freaking like a Romani. Other times he sounds like he's from Jersey. Like what is this?
Right. It's all down the river. New Orleans guy. Yeah. So crazy.
So funny. All right, so that's Benny. He needs to do some work on himself. Yeah, as for Jonathan, I got the sense that maybe he was gay, but because this isn't this isn't a 2020s movie where everything needs to be fucking politicized and genderized and all of that. That he is just kind of like quietly gay.
That's true. 1999. Also behind you, I forget. That's funny that's there. The mummy hat from Universal Studios.
That's really funny.
Awesome.
And you're wearing your Luxor Las Vegas Sphinx on your sweatshirt.
Yeah,
today was Egypt Day, man.
Egypt Day. It was meant to be. It was meant to be. No, Jonathan totally gay, right? Because he's like telling him off about moving the rocks. He's not moving the rocks.
Yeah.
And then he like tells Evie multiple times like, oh, sure, there's nothing to see there. You know, he's in love with O'Connell just like Evie is.
Yes.
You know, he's enamored by it.
Yeah. Or not. And then, but he's just doing it because he's like the brother, he's like, he's not the protagonist. He's not the, he's the brother of Evie. So he's like serving a different role. He's some comic relief, maybe when they get back to England, whatever.
Yeah, maybe he has.
Because he does evolve. There's like very little character development because it's the mummy, but he does evolve a bit. Like, because at the end he's guns out, guns ablaze, and he's he's now fighting alongside O'Connell. So he's also grown.
Right. Healthy masculinity helps health masculinity, right?
I think so. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so. I think when one man in the group, in the community steps it up, other men also rise.
Right. And what he does is he starts off stealing, being a pickpocket.
Right.
But then uses that as a skill to do good.
Nice,
Later, constantly taking the key from,
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing I'm curious about too, Evie, the anti-Jezebel, the Madonna in that dynamic, she seems to still have some Jezebel needs.
Ah, yes.
Right.
What
do you think about that? Or do you have anything to say about that?
So I don't know if they're needs, more as necessities, perhaps.
Okay.
Where sort of like in the O'Connell thing, she sort of needed the like sexualization with him in a way.
Right.
enjoyed that part too. You know, kept it Madonna, but also needed that. And O'Connell's very rough and gruff sort of dude too.
Yeah.
She loves that. She was also like tied down, right, and was going to be the spirit of Anaxinamun.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And Imhotep comes up. He actually thinks she is Anaxinamun.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's another scene where she has
she saves him on accident, right? I mean, she is the one who unlocks him from the tomb.
Oh yes, that's
right.
true.
So
Great
she
point,
does
great
have
point.
that edge to her.
She does. She kisses him during the sandstorm to save O'Connell.
Right.
But there's reluctance there.
Yeah.
She's only really doing it to save O'Connell and her brother. Yeah. Right. And yet again, sort of embracing also the Jezebel femininity.
Yeah.
To grow the masculinity of O'Connell, of her brother.
Yeah.
Of Pharrell or whatever that dude's name, Fothel or whatever, you know. Who? In the plane, the other Egyptian guy.
Winston.
Well, Winston too, but the other guy that was hanging on for 3,000 years.
Oh, Ardith.
Ardith, right,
yeah.
right. Falafel.
Falafel, bro. Come on.
I thought it was Fothel. Yeah. Ardith, right. So I think that's there. Well, that's why they foil each other, though, right? Because
who? Falafel and Jack O'Connell.
Well,
or
Anaxinamun and Evie.
Oh, okay.
Because Anaxinamun, in order to get her true sense of self back, her true life come back from the dead, she actually needed the Madonna body.
Yes.
So that they're part of each other, exactly, right? Yeah. And yet they fight each other. There's an actual fight and battle against each other.
Right.
Who ultimately comes out on top, you know?
Yeah.
Which is Our Lady Madonna.
Right.
Rachel Weisz.
Yeah. And another way of... Yeah, exactly. So another
awful, exactly.
Another way of putting that is, oh man, I just got like a flashback when we were doing that pod in my apartment in Albuquerque till like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
The unreleased pod.
Yeah, right.
That was so much fun.
We'll only release that after
we die, posthumously.
Sure, or become like super rich and fucking followers for the pod. Yeah.
We'll be on our Patreon. Anyway, now we figured out the universe on that one, but
we did. That's why we can never release it.
No, exactly. Yeah. Because if we release it, then King Tut's tomb will open up and curse the entire world.
Yeah.
But I think rather than Jezebel and anti-Jezebel, we could also say, similar to O'Connell, the healthy feminine and the toxic feminine, right? Because I think that's what's going on with what's her face, Anaximon and Evie. Similar to how Jack O'Connell is the healthy masculine, but they do bleed into one another, right? And because the reality is no one is fully one thing, nothing's pure, and binaries don't truly exist, right?
Sure.
So in the same way that the healthy masculine takes this, what are potentially shadow qualities, like this gruffness and this strength, right? All that kind of stuff. And then transmutes that into confidence and protectiveness and all of that, right? But they're still kind of happening in the same plane.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, like O'Connell is like gruff and tough, right? You have Evie, who also does have her sexuality and knows how to access it, and access it at appropriate times and appropriate spaces, right? And has that seductive quality, but keeps it on reserve for Jack O'Connell.
Right.
Keeps it on reserve even from O'Connell. So that, again, that kind of refining factor, he has to unlock that. He has to prove his worth.
Right.
In order to consummate. So
Yes.
whereas the toxic feminine, Anoximon, hers is just like, it's just all over the place, right? That seductive quality of the feminine, that emotional quality of the feminine, it's completely uncontained.
Right.
So she's having sex with the pharaoh. She's seducing Imhotep. She's probably seducing like 4 different Egyptian warriors.
Right.
She suicides at some point. Her emotions are just
Oh my God.
all over the place, right?
Yeah.
She's trying to like come back to life 3,000 years later via using the surrogate body of the healthy feminine, right? So there's something there's something very interesting there, but I like the way in which that healthy toxic binary kind of bleeds into each other a bit, and it happens on kind of the same plane,
right?
Because the truth is, dude, we like the feminine, we enjoy the feminine. Sure. It's deeply compelling, right? But you don't want an Anoximon,
right?
You don't. Because that's going to be a lot.
You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. Then you'll be driven.
It's like touching a stove, sticking your hand in the fire, and it's
Sure. Yeah.
But you want that fire to be there.
She may not even have liked an ox on a moon or Imhotep. An ox on a moon, maybe.
No, they didn't even. They knew each other for a week, of course,
because she knew if she like duped this old guy, he would bring her back to life. Because certainly the pharaoh is going to find out about the other 4 senators. She's
she probably just wanted immortality.
And the captain of the army.
She seduced him for immortality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Imhotep.
Right.
He was a chump. Right?
True story about this. All right, avoided.
Wow.
I was seeing a girl for a while that would totally was an ox on a moon.
Yeah.
Like had an OnlyFans, freaking
wanted immortality.
Yeah. And the only time she'd hit me up is when she wanted food or like needed money. Okay.
Whoa,
or like, right. And I'm not a rich guy, I'm not like, can barely afford sugar, much less be a sugar daddy, and like, it was so toxic. And then every time I'd want to like have an Evie night with her and be like, hey, come over, I'll make you some dinner. Let's watch some movies, whatever. I'd get ghosted.
Yeah.
Literally ghosted.
Yeah.
And then like clockwork, she'd hit me up 2, 3, 4 days later, like go get me Sonic or something like that. You know what I mean? Fuck that. I blocked her on everything, it was over. I was done for, And finally, like, went to the movies and like tried holding her hand. She wouldn't even hold my hand.
Oh, jeez.
And I was just like, geez, after like, what the heck?
Yeah.
An ox on him,
Right.
And instead of leaving, being driven towards madness eventually, paying her full rent or bringing her back from the dead.
Crazy.
I bounced, man, I had to find my inner O'Connell, Yeah.
No, exactly. Because you didn't want to be an Imhotep.
Right.
And that leads me to my next question, which is, who in that movie are you? In terms of your own, I'm thinking right now, just like man development, masculine development, are you, it sounds like you've had some Imhotep moments.
I've had some Imhotep
I've also
moments.
known you to be a Jack O'Connell.
Right.
Maybe you got some Jonathan in you, where you at?
Sure. I don't know. Okay, so this brings up another good point, is I think that what The Mummy also shows us, deepest movie ever made, 1999. It's sort of the pie of the man, the pie of the self, cut up in the slices, right? Sure. Because we all have percentages of all of these guys. I think they're sort of like the subtypes.
Yeah.
And how much % are you, O'Connell?
Great.
How much % are you? Benny, even Jonathan, freaking falafel, or the guy that's
so funny.
Makes a deal with Evie.
You're right.
Oh yeah, 25.
Such a good impression.
Where are we at? Where are we at on the scale? You know, where are we at on the scale?
Yeah.
See, because
you're never just one, because they're these ridiculous archetypes. Like, no one truly is like 100% Jack O'Connell.
No,
he's a ridiculous fucking character,
right? And he's not all 100% himself.
And I was thinking,
I think
too,
he could be pushed to be.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Just briefly interject, like Brendan Fraser. Like, I know he's an actor; he's not actually Jack O'Connell, but whatever. To make the point, Brendan Fraser, who was once Jack O'Connell, became the Whale.
Right.
I mean, so there's a spectrum here. It's like, you know, and in Brendan's own life, I mean, the guy was like movie star, super attractive, all these things, and then had this great career ahead of him, and then went off the deep end. Something happened with his own version of Anakasanaman. Right. I forgot the exact story, but something crazy with like this woman took all his money and destroyed him, or whatever. Really? Something like that happened. Yeah.
Well, and then there's a producer who like sexually assaulted him.
Oh God, that
like,
too, huh?
Grabbed his butt or something at a hotel and freaking tried getting him up to the room.
Oh my God, poor Brendan, dude.
Poor Brendan.
Yes, and then Brendan, you don't see him in any movies for years, and the dude's just like super unhealthy, really unwell, and then all of a sudden makes his comeback, and it's like this, like, wow, it's like this, it's really beautiful, you know. I mean, I think it was for The Whale. He won some award, and just like everyone gave him a standing ovation, and he's crying, and you could see behind those tears just so much personal tragedy that fueled the energy of that performance. I mean, it was really beautiful to see him get that moment. I think everyone in the whole world felt good about it. The whole world. But anyway, so it's like Jack O'Connell, actually such a fictional character, you know, because then the man who played him has this, you know, very complex life. And right. But anyway, so yeah.
No,
there's no full Jack O'Connell. So to your point,
there's no full Jonathan, right?
Right.
He's also going back and forth.
Exactly.
I think there's no full Benny. There's a scene there where Emotep is sucking the life out of one of the Americans. Benny's just like cringing. He can't believe it.
Yeah, he's humanized.
Yeah. And he's also very smart. Learns a bunch of different languages.
He knows a bunch of languages. Benny's great.
He's researched religions, you know.
Right. Actually, that's one of my favorite. Even as a kid, I remember loving that scene. I thought it was like there's something really compelling about that idea that he's like moving through, showing different pendants to the mummy, trying to ward him off, engaging in different traditions. And I guess like the sort of like Benny Sucks reading would be like, oh, look at this guy. He's not capable of like committing himself to one religion. None of it's authentic. He's always just like out for this like acting from a place of self-preservation, and whether that's Christ or Jehovah or Buddha, he doesn't give a shit. You know, it's like he has no true integrity. But now watching it, after having engaged in different spiritual practices myself, and I mix and blend all the time, I see that and I'm like, wow, that's actually a pretty cool person. That's a deep guy who took the time to learn the languages and learn the images and learn the prayers for 12 different religions that he carries around his neck. Right? Yeah. Benny's great, dude.
Yeah. And it was not just for his protection against something like an Emotep or whatever. It was for his mental protection too, you know. He was doing it as a betterment practice. Yeah. You know, he was going to the religion, going to the village, reading about what prayers can make you happy, reduce anxiety, panic attacks, you know.
Benny's got an interesting backstory.
Turns out, you know, we got some Benny in us, you know.
Of course.
I think it's good. And Benny's an incel. He doesn't have a girlfriend, you know. He's kind of short and scrawny, not the best looking, you know. So I don't know.
I think Benny could clean up though, you know. I
think he could, you know. Put a like zoot suit on Benny.
See, that's the thing. I think the great tragedy of the mummy is Benny's outcome. You know, I think Benny. I don't think he deserved the death that he received. You know, all the thousands of scarabs, you know, as he's locked in the temple at night and in the pitch black, you know, screaming as the scarabs eat him alive. I don't think Benny deserved that.
No. Benny needed a better arc.
Yeah, I think ideally, and I get why they just had to write off the character at the end, you know, but I think it would have been weird if he survived,
Right.
For the context of 1999, The Mummy, but
or like sacrificed himself for for them.
yeah,
or
some kind of
somehow,
redemption,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offet freaking sacrificed himself. The other Egyptian guy. He's like, just go, I'll fight him off, go. And he like sword fighting all the evil
that was cool. Yeah.
Yet another good sort of trope for like the young man's brain to be like, brave and courageous and
totally self-sacrificial when you need to be.
Yeah. Such a great movie.
Yeah. So what's your pie chart?
I mean, I feel like anyone who watches that movie who's not like psychotic would want to be mostly Jack.
Yeah,
O'Connell.
you want to be Jack. No one's going to watch them like really, really want to identify with Jonathan.
Right. Or Emotep or whatever. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I have a lot of like, when I was younger, I had more Jonathan in me, like sort of rambunctious, smart, a little too dangerous with my career choices in a way, So definitely got some Jonathan in there. I feel like more in Brother Day. That was Brother Don. Brother Day. I've resonated more with the Jack O'Connell character for sure.
Brother Day.
More of a family man,
nice.
of like, the protector,
cool.
The comedian, more comfortable in my like sort of masculinity, sexuality to be able to flirt, but respect and like,
cool.
Share a platform, all that stuff,
like that.
Yeah. I think I really have weeded out the Amish or falafel, the sort of Ardeth, the lone wolf.
Cool.
However, I do respect him though.
You had a lot of Ardeth.
I had a lot of Ardeth.
You did.
Yeah. I was very much.
I think you still got some Ardeth in you.
I got some Ardeth.
Not to the same extent,
for sure.
But
right.
I think you're more balanced, but
yeah,
he's still there. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
There's a mystique.
For 3,000 years, I studied the English language. And that's still in there for sure.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to fight back against the Ardeth, be more open to my Evie, in the later years. Plus, my sort of quest too came to an end, and I needed to like ride my camel off in the sunset and find a new sort of drive.
So that's interesting too. Because Ardeth does ride off into the sunset. He leaves at some point. So I wonder if the Ardeth within all of us at some point serves his function, completes the job, and
right. The PhD was had for 14 years.
Exactly.
I studied up, and then sort of went off into the sunset. Yeah. I do feel like all of us have a little bit of Benny in us.
Sure.
That's like self-preservation.
Yeah.
Also the like, fuck you inside. You're on the wrong side of the river, O'Connell. And then we also get fucked over when we're like, you're on the wrong side of the river. Just like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
I think that happens to a lot of us.
Yeah.
Especially like, just like getting shown up and stuff like that. And also like, should I follow Emotep? I think that all kind of like resonates within us.
Yeah.
I don't think that the reason why Benny was so popular and like funny and in the story altogether is because the audience members can see him for who he is and can also sort of relate with what he's doing. Not to say that they would do it, but they can see why
Benny
would make his choices. Right.
Benny's the scapegoat, right?
Yeah.
In the deeper sense, the scapegoat, meaning that he represents what we don't want to see in ourselves.
Sure.
Which is why he is sacrificed at the end.
Right.
In a pretty brutal way.
Yeah.
Because we want to cut that part of ourselves out of us.
Right.
Without even acknowledging that we have that part.
Sure. And then, nah, forget it, man. I'm just the librarian. You're a disaster.
That guy was
Clean
funny.
this place up. I don't care how.
You're really good at that. Funny.
And then I feel like I went through my Imhotep sort of bring my girlfriend back from the dead. I went through that whole era. His soul was taken by some ghost carriage, and I was definitely mortal, stabbed, went into the water.
Yeah, cool.
You know, because I dealt with the Jezebel. Yeah. I feel like you sort of did your Jezebel thing too, you know, and you were in that Imhotep freaking. Oh, yeah, dude. For a minute. You know. But it was slain. It was slain, you know. And I think maybe that's another good thing about those villains is Benny and the Imhotep is we can all sort of relate to it too in a way. Not to say that we'd fully go down that road, but we can relate to see why. And then also respect how great it is that O'Connell, Jonathan, Evie, they don't go down that road. Yeah, the brighter side, right, of the pie chart. Cool. What about you, man?
Yeah. Different periods for different things, you know? Like, had my Imhotep.
Right.
Definitely. Oh, man, that was wild. And also so happy that like you, that the soul carriage or whatever came through and freaking tore Imhotep out of me, and and then Jack O'Connell stabbed me and it became mortal, you know. But maybe there's something there too. The Jack O'Connell within us has to kill the Imhotep within us.
Nice. Yes. Because I was gonna say, because I kind of mentioned it early, Jack O'Connell or Rick O'Connell. What was his name? Call me Rick or whatever.
What? The character, Brenda Fraser?
Yeah. Remember he's talking to Evie,
have we been calling him?
I think it's Rick O'Connell.
No, come on.
Rick.
That's really funny.
Should have been Jack.
Oh, hold up. That's hilarious. Oh no.
It's Rick.
It's Rick O'Connell.
Oh, damn it. We're going to have to start the pot over
Who's
again.
Jack O'Connell?
I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
Should have been Jack.
All the points are the same.
That's true. Fine. That's true. So Ricky, he could have totally turned into Imhotep.
Who called him Jack O'Connell first?
I don't know. We're messing up all the names tonight. You're calling an Oxymoon OxyClean. I'm talking about falafels and our tests. Say Evie, they go back to London and she is actually married to like, you know, some like really bully freaking Parliament guy, or even like Winston Churchill himself. You know, and they killed her, Evie. I could see O'Connell bringing her back from the dead if he knew the skills and had the power to do it. I feel like we could be driven to that madness in a way, you know?
Yeah, it's a different situation though, you know? Like if because that's a pretty serious thing. Like if she were killed,
right,
and then he's like really stuck on it for a long time.
Sure.
That's a different situation than Imhotep's known this chick for a week. And the closest he ever got to her was touching her arm and smudged her her arm makeup, you know, and
sure.
And then
would he do it though, even given the circumstance? Because even in the movie, him and Evie had only known each other for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah,
you know?
But there's no. I told you, a buddy of mine said this thing that was kind of funny. He was like, first 3 months of dating, she's on probation, man. Like, it's like, where it's like, you know, you're in it, you're involved, you're having fun, and you know, and you can, you know, be exclusive, commit all these things, but there's not that level of like, oh God, we got to move in together, and like I gotta meet your parents right away, and. And oh my God, you think we'll start a family together? Like, it's like, chill, bro. You know, so with Rick O'Connell and Evie, it seems like they're in the honeymoon stage, but there's no craziness about it. You know, there's no obsessive like
Right.
You know,
right.
this like obsessive need for validation. Oh God, are we going to spend our lives together or not?
They're still maintaining boundaries.
Yeah, there's still healthy boundaries there.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't have sex in that movie.
Right, right.
What's this movie rated? It's probably PG, but
I don't know. Yeah.
But anyway,
might be 13.
Maybe 13, but yeah. But they didn't they kissed at the end. That's you know, classic Hollywood. It's like super clean, you know. They kissed at the end.
Yes.
So yeah, and they went through this like big wild experience together, and then they kissed.
Right.
To express, hey, that was a really intense experience and I trust you more, but I'm still getting to know you.
Right.
So we'll kiss. Yeah.
Right. Instead of the like,
so it seems pretty healthy.
How you go through this adventure if you don't fuck me. I'm gonna
Dude,
go ask someone else to do it.
How am I supposed to know that you love me if you didn't, you know?
Maybe there's a lot of Americans here. They seem to be, you know.
Exactly. Freaking like, I really liked it when Emotep kissed me.
Right,
you know?
right.
Jeez, bro.
But the thing is, though, is despite our ability to sort of go to that darkness, what does O'Connell do? Slays the Emotep.
He slays the Emotep. Yeah.
Right,
So I think we have to sacrifice the lower self to the higher self.
Right.
And I think that happens with Emotep and Rick O'Connell. Right. So I think of, you know, which part am I think it's more of a process kind of question. Which parts have I been? Which parts am I now? Who am I still working with? You know, because I don't know if in reality Emotep ever like 100% goes away, but it definitely changes and transmutes and alters and shifts in a big way.
Right.
But I don't know if that just like is completely gone forever. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so I've had my Emotep moments. Certainly out of that though. I'm feeling pretty solidly in my Rick O'Connell, my Jack O'Connell.
Good. Yeah.
But there's also just context and environment too. Because like if I'm hanging out with my sister and her friends, or her and her boyfriend are coming to visit in a month or something, I'm going to be Jonathan.
Right.
When she and her boyfriend come to visit.
Sure.
You know? And her boyfriend's cool. He's this dude, Gino, and he's like, he's got a lot of Jack O'Connell in him. You know, this dude's Jack O'Connell. He's a really cool guy. And
not Rick O'Connell. Gino O'Connell. Yeah.
Gino O'Connell. But he's but you know, he's gonna be in that role, right? Because he's the boyfriend is, you know, he and my sister are gonna be like adventuring in the desert, right? Coming out from New York to Arrakis out here, right? And so I'm gonna very happily be in the Jonathan role where I'm gonna be like just like joking, being quirky, having fun, like letting Gino be charming and shit, you know, just like whatever.
Hey, old chap. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that will be cool and that will be fun, you know? So there are settings where I am the Jonathan and that's okay. And that feels right. And then there's settings like I'm in a romantic thing now and like very consciously, am very consciously stepping into Jack O'Connell and embodying that because I'm like, and also being multifaceted, you know, but because I want to, because it's more pleasing for me actually to be in that like confident, charismatic space than to be like, I'm going to Emotep on you, or I'm going to be Benny, or I'm going to be Jonathan, like, oh, I'm just your friend or something like that, you know?
Even Jack or Rick O'Connell, how would he react? His sister's boyfriend comes into town, instead of being like super macho or whatever.
No,
I think he would also revert to the
kind of like take a step back a little bit, you know? So it moves through. I mean, Benny, there's definitely Benny in there, this like sense of self-preservation and fear that can come up. And I think I work more actively with the Benny in me than with the Emotep in me.
Right.
I think I have way more Benny in me than I do Emotep. I think when the Emotep, that was almost an anomaly when my Emotep like really came out, you know?
Right.
I mean, I've had some Emotep moments for sure, but that last one was like kind of an anomaly. That was like a big Emotep moment, but it also showed me my Emotep fully enough that I could slay it.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
I brought out my Emotep so I could have my Rick O'Connell kill him.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because O'Connell, you said something, got to sacrifice the lower self for the higher self.
Yeah.
O'Connell, in terms of social hierarchies, economical hierarchies, whatever.
Yeah.
He's actually would be seen societally as lower than class-wise. Imhotep, who is head priest, he's rich, he has power, he has priests, he has money, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking about this in terms of like anxiety and panic and depression and whatever. You actually got to slay the Imhotep, the chase for riches, the head of the church, the most beautiful woman in Egypt, blah, 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 blah. All these tropes that say this is the higher self, in order to embrace the O'Connell, which is the more humble, the more like, explorer, the adventurer, the one who goes for the anti-Jezebel, not the one who's going to date the super hot Jezebel, right?
Yeah.
Slaying that Imhotep inside, that will get you to a place of peace.
Yeah.
A more mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
And get you more of what you actually desire, which is not necessarily riches, money, all this, but is friendships, relationships.
Yeah,
love,
of course. Connectedness.
Connection.
All of that,
Yeah,
way different.
And like you say, the Imhotep never goes away. Like we were talking earlier, the anxiety, the panic, all that stuff, it's never ever going to completely leave. But the more you cut it out, the more you make it mortal.
Yeah.
The easier it will be to defeat, when those feelings arise.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's something to that as well, that you have to make it mortal first. You don't just kill it right out. You have to go through the process of making it mortal. You have to read the incantation from the Book of Life, right?
Right.
In order to make it mortal. Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of taking that, like, my job is the number one thing, the making money, whatever.
Yeah.
Make it mortal. Make it not the be all end all.
Right.
And then you can really take its power from it.
On behalf of the Jareds, thank you for listening. Follow, comment, and tell your friends. The Jays will be back next time. And always remember, only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go. Until next time.